Our guest tonight is James Annitto, a renowned demonologist, author, and paranormal investigator with over 2 decades of experience exploring the unknown. Since 2004, James has combined psychology, spiritual insight, and analytic thinking to investigating serious hauntings and demonic phenomena. He's the founder of the Dominion Ministry, co-creator of Duo Demonology, and author of the Psychological Dimensions of the Paranormal. James has lectured across the U.S. and abroad, led a Dracula Roots tour through Romania, and is launching the Nine Gates Paranormal podcast in 2026 with our good friend Victoria J. Get ready for a deep dive into demonology, the afterlife, and the darker corners of the paranormal tonight on the Unraveling the Darkness podcast.
Good evening, Aaron. You're muted, buddy.
Oh, it's like I'm a rookie all over again.
I know, all over again.
You had the intros for a few weeks and we were, quiet for a few weeks. And I'm just like,
Gotta get back into it.
stumble over it and get through it, right?
Yeah, no worries.
No. So let's see. Last week we had a good show, Aurora Brothel last week.
Yep, that was cool.
Pretty interesting.
Yep, yet another place on our list of places to go. So
yeah,
slowly racking up a huge travel budget to
yeah. Speaking of that, we had the Way Out West Paranormal Ghost Hunting 101 for teens this past weekend.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah. It seems we always have a good group of kids.
Yep.
So, we had some teen boys that were
rowdy.
We got to introduce ourselves and I was like, oh yeah, and I used to be like these guys, annoying.
Yep. Yep.
But it was all in fun. They had a good time and, learned a bunch of cool stuff. So.
Yeah. And I don't know, the spirits there seem to love when we, bring the kids in. It's always so active, when they're in there asking questions and stuff like that. We had some really good responses this past weekend.
Yeah. We talked about it before where, when we bring those kids in, they ask questions that we never thought of.
Yeah.
We've been investigating the nights you've been doing it for almost 20 years. We've been doing it as a team for 2.5, 3 years now.
Yep.
And you kind of getting the same things and talking to the same spirits. And, we're really trying to dig deeper and find out some stuff, but they're like, what did you eat? What was your favorite food? What was
kind of pants did you wear? It's like,
what? Yeah, that goes back to that basics. And we're like, those are some good basic questions.
They really are.
So,
and we might have a lead on, at least a partial lead on one of the spirits there. We were able to possibly identify a figure that was seen to a photo on the wall, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. Some of you people that have been with us, we talked to Marvin in the basement and we may have actually found out who he is.
Yep. I'm pretty sure I saw Marvin the other night. So he was standing over Aaron's shoulder, which was really creepy. I didn't tell Aaron till after, but
yeah, thank goodness. Like that's probably the best way to handle that too.
Yep. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, 20 minutes ago when we were down there, yeah, you had a dead dude staring over your shoulder, man.
Otherwise, you're going to get one of two reactions. I'm going to freeze and we're good. Or I'm like, shit.
Yep. Or we're going to rush out of this room. Let's go try back upstairs again.
But it's all in, it's great. We have that place. We're able to, to connect with these spirits and really see why they're here and why they're staying there. Hopefully we get some of those answers at some point, because we're
Yeah.
still not sure why they're there. Why are you in this building?
Yep.
So
Yep. I can't wait to dig into the records a little bit and see if we can't correlate some of these names we've been getting to membership records.
I'm excited. We're busy the next 3 weeks. We have
Yeah.
some residential stuff going on to help some people. We're doing another investigation on the 8th. So 2 weeks of like residential type stuff, and a cool investigation in Denver. And like, we'll just, work our way through. But
Yep.
I think if the snow ever starts flying here, that'll be a great weekend to go up there. But
Yeah.
still,
Yeah. Grab some pizzas and just tuck in and frickin', start, because it's
yeah,
floor to ceiling of records in that room. So it's going to take
I
a little bit of time.
poked my head in there before when you've had it open, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to be overwhelming. The
Yep.
good thing is, like, so many of those we can just open and see it's not Cheyenne, right?
Yes. Yep.
Those charter books. So
Yep.
that eliminates stuff pretty quick, and then we can start organizing a little bit as we put it back for you guys too. That's the
Yep.
biggest thing.
Yeah. Kind of catalog it and
Yeah,
see how that goes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be, of course, we keep saying it's a winter project, but then we're not getting the winter weather, which I'm really not going to complain about. But
that's what I was getting ready to say too. Like, I was born and raised here in Cheyenne, and I think that December, talking to some of the old guys that come into my store, that December was the driest December in a lot of years.
yeah,
January's looking about the
yep.
same,
Well, it shows. I mean, December we had a pretty big wildfire just over the hill from my house, where
right?
people
It
got
was
evacuated and all that.
like 500 acres,
Yep.
So yeah, it's going to get worse if we don't get some moisture. Our February, March could be pretty crazy. Maybe we don't make it to Denver. Who knows?
Yeah.
But um, that's where we're at. Um, try and
I,
go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, I think we're due. I think we're going to get hit with blizzards in probably March and April.
Yeah,
I think we're going to get one of those late storms that just sits over us and spins, and we're locked in the house for a week, week and a half.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm down.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's
Get
a
some
lot of stuff
editing
that I could
done,
be
and
doing for the group.
right. I hear you.
So, well, we have this great guest coming on tonight, James Annitto. He's going to be starting a podcast this year with our good friend, Victoria J.
Yeah, Victoria, she's awesome.
We had to move some guests around. The Ghoul Friends had some stuff happen, today, and everyone kind of had some stuff come up and emergency stuff. So we will reschedule them and get them on. I really want to talk to them. They're a great bunch of gals. We've had a couple on. Should be a good show,
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So everyone just send out good vibes for them. They rescheduled as soon as they knew, they weren't able to, make it. So,
yep,
thank you for doing that. And yeah, just, good vibes going your way, guys. So
yep. Victoria shared it out that we were looking for someone, and James
James hopped right on it.
hopped
Yeah,
on, and
appreciate
we
that.
really appreciate that. So we're going to bring him in now. Good evening, James. You're muted. Yes, I'm not the only one.
Oh, whoops.
Oh,
I was eating what's it called? What was I eating? I was eating Pokies, and I'm like I don't want to be chewing on there just in case they bring me on. But yeah, thank you guys for having me tonight.
yes. No, thank you for seeing Victoria's share and reaching out to us.
Yeah, definitely. I have one tomorrow, so I said why not do a double header.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. Like, you started in 2004 investigating the paranormal. What got you into investigating?
Oh, so for people that follow me know that I don't have a traditional story, but for you guys and for your listeners, it wasn't the paranormal that got me into the paranormal. Like, it was just
Okay.
actual childhood trauma and having questions about God, and it led me down a rabbit hole. When I could learn how to read and write and all that stuff, and use thesauruses and dictionaries and encyclopedias back in the day when there was no internet. I would go to the library and pick those things up, and was just going a deep dive, and one question after another led me down to many different branches. Aliens and the afterlife, and angels and demons, and other religions outside of our Western Christianity domination. But yeah, so that's really kind of got me into paranormal, and it just the angels and demons thing just stuck on me because of what was done to me was evil. So I was interested in the concept of evil, and so it really kind of flourished that way. I really attached to that idea of afterlife because it's so morality of us, right? It's like we die. So is there, I think the biggest human question is what happens after death. Like aliens, like I think there is that. It's a large universe, so it's like okay, that's quantifiable. It could be different than how we interpret it. Cryptids, uh, possible too. The mountain gorilla was only found a couple hundred years ago, and that was thought to be a
Yep.
legend. And so wasn't the giant squid. Um,
Right.
so that's palpable, but really, like the idea of dying and then going to heaven or some other place intrigued me, man. And like, did we stay here? And I think that hasn't been answered, or at least hasn't had a correlation to something that we can prove, beside people that have
Right.
NDEs and stuff like that. But even there's psychological things that could make that happen as well.
Yep.
So it's like it's the big to know, and that's what intrigued me the most out of all the branches of the paranormal.
So then you went towards the angel demon side of it, is what it's sounding like.
Yeah, because I eventually did find my faith through a lot of exploration, and I am a Christian, so I've had moments where some people would think I'm crazy, but I truly, honestly know what I felt, and kind of saw the 180 in myself and how I am where I am now. I'm not a gullible Christian, like I'm very scientific, but I do believe, and so um, that kind of turned me because I've been paranormal investigating since a teenager, and it's like it was fun. It's interesting. I still love doing it to this day. I love exploring, finding new places, being in new places. But it's like it came to a point where I started dealing with residentials, telling them that we caught something wasn't good enough. Some people needed that extra step or that direction of like, okay, maybe we can do this and that to alleviate you, especially if it's bothering them and it's making them tense and traumatic. I wanted that extra step. I wanted to figure out how I could help them further, any possible way, and that's really what led me to the demonology and ministry work.
Nice. What is there a case that sticks out to you in a residential that you could tell us about?
Yeah, no, like not to beat the old drum, but I talk about this case quite often because it's like even though I was a Christian, and this is a fact. I'm not going to make this a Bible study here because nobody cares about that. They're not here to listen to that. But what I would say is when I was in ministry work, I didn't believe in demons. At the first point when I got into demonology, I was fascinated in it. Didn't experience it, so I couldn't say that it existed because there are a lot of Catholics and a lot of Christians that don't believe in demons in the preternatural sense anymore. There's a lot of people that don't believe that anymore. So it's like, I wasn't sold on it, but I did a case in Salem, Massachusetts, and what I saw in that person that was in, I would believe to call it possession, in my point of view, and saw this man's cheekbones change, eyes change,
Wow.
wrestled two big guys that were bouncers at one point in their life, and dislocated his shoulder to grab me. Like I saw that, and uh, it left an impact on me. Like it wasn't even that, even the environment walking into that apartment. Um, was unpalpable. You had the palpitations, you had the instant fight or flight, adrenaline reaction. That all kicked in being there. Like it was just one thing after another, and then that was, of course, the icing on the cake. And it was like, okay, I this is everything I've read. This is everybody's experience that I've actually dealt with it. It wasn't the Exorcist pea suit coming out, head spinning and levitation. Like this is what's really truly talked about, primarily by demonologists or exorcists. Yeah, those things can happen. What I just said, that are animated in The Exorcist, but I never experienced it. And having that experience, seeing that person change, and kind of not just characteristics, but physical characteristics of him change. Um, yeah, to me, there's nothing in science that can disprove that. And yeah, maybe he had mental health issues, but a lot of them do. It just helps mask it even better. But yeah, the physical reactions. But I would say that impacted me the most because it verified something in me that, okay, this can exist, and I am on the right path. A lot of people that were involved in that case took breaks from the paranormal, or even stepped away from doing it. And so um, it lit a fire in me. Actually made my faith stronger instead of demoralizing me like those other individuals were. Um, and so, yeah, I would say that's the first case of demonic activity, and very impactful one. And this was probably over 10 years ago now.
Yeah, you touch on the mental health thing, and I definitely see how, I mean, number one, mental health, can get confused, right, for exorcisms
Hmm.
sorry, possessions or vice
Yeah.
versa. But also, a possession event has got to chip away the mental health of even a otherwise healthy person, right? I mean, having something that's, degrading you from the inside out.
Yeah. So it's like an inner consciousness, like defeat, right? Um, because the one thing about the demonic stages, and I'll go with the three because those are the standard. There's almost a total of six of them actually, but it gets complicated, so I'll stay easy. So in most simplistic moments of demonic haunting, it's infestation, oppression, possession. That's the trinity of demonic cases. And in the oppression stage, right? Infestation, like this, what you would call a demon or this evil spirit or this unconsciousness that we don't understand. It meddles. It maybe is there for a certain reason, but usually the person that's most susceptible starts getting targeted. So the infestation technically goes from like standard haunting to more advanced. In the infestation stage, more things are happening, like, but more if it's an internal battle as well, right? That the demon is, like you said, or this consciousness is saying to them they're not good enough and breaking them down that God can't help you. And that's when it becomes a personal battle, right?
Yep.
But it still can be outwards in the exterior as well. And then where possession would occur is when the person's free will is demoralized, right? They are internally defeated, um, and then the demon is able to ta take over, push out their consciousness, and control their bodily functions and speak through them. Um, so once again, you got to remember that they're already defeated. Like they question God or their higher power. So their faith is demoralized. Which faith, regardless if it's a omnipotent being or faith as an internal thing, our brain activates when faith is progressed and thought of. Right. So we
Right.
have neuroscientific scans that show that. So it's proven, and neurotheology is a thing. It's interesting stuff, but so faith's important. So when you lose your lack of faith, when you lose your faith and you lose your will, and you start are segregating yourself from your family and your friends, and you're going down a downward spiral, most people unfortunately give up. And so that's them giving up. But a lot of the possession um of the individual, the person that's possessed, the demoniac, um doesn't actually know they're possessed most of the time. Like they're kind of like, it's everything's numb to them. And like usually in true possession cases, a family member or a parent or a sibling or an acquaintance will call and bring forth this, because the person that at that point that's possessed really doesn't have any recollection of what's going on. Like they can come in and out of consciousness, like, because the battle of free will. But there'll be times where they're them, and then they are taken over. But um so they don't really know what's going on. Sometimes they lose time, they wonder what's going on. it's really a crazy thing to observe, like the demoralization of a person when it comes to something exterior.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that just sounds terrifying, being demoralized from the inside out.
Yeah.
One thing we've always talked about on this show, with demonologists, Victoria and them, is my question or statement has always been that, you're going to know you're in the presence of evil, right? When you're walking in. Like, I think a lot of these where,
Mm,
you got this house in the Midwest. That's our, that's our new comparison now, thanks to, Mr. Estep. But you've got this house in the Midwest and you go into the basement, it just feels bad, right? Like, there's going to be a difference between
yeah.
like a dark spirit and that visceral I am in the presence of pure evil. Like you said, you walked into
Yeah.
that apartment, the fight or flight response kicked in, and
Hmm.
you were in the presence of a predator, so to speak, right? I think there's a
Yeah.
big difference between the two as far as what you're going to experience.
And that's a perfect point, Jason. Is that like I don't claim, like a lot of people make fun of me because it's like I don't claim to be a clairvoyant, psychic, medium, large, or any clairsentient. But most people say, "Oh, you just explained that you are." And but what I tell people is that on top, like that I like to call it as quicksand energy. It's like you feel like you're dragging through some mud or
Mm.
quicksand. That's that kind of feeling of that environment. But I've had people that have helped me, maybe dabbled into the paranormal, didn't believe to be anything. They're just a normal average Joe, and they felt it. People that are anti mediums have felt it. It's like I like to, you said fight or flight, and I said that as well. But it's like imagine, and not all of us can say this, and I can't say it either. But imagine that a tiger or a lion or a bear or coyotes in front of you. You know, you're gonna have a reaction, even how gung ho
Yeah.
you are. I
Right.
even the Delta Squad person probably would, they would know how to react, but the body would still probably pump with adrenaline, right? So
Right.
anybody that has dealt with these kind of cases that I know of or that have joined me have felt that without even recognizing it. Like, we didn't come out, oh, you feel that? No, it's something that's discussed afterwards, or at a break. Oh, like you felt that, right? And you're not trying to make them biased or trying to like agree with you, but you want to. How you present it is like not trying to mislead or lead them,
Right.
but yeah, most people have experienced it. It's a terrible energy. I like to say the best feeling of it is just imagine you slight punching yourself in the solar plexus so over and over again, and you feel it. It's trembling. It really is, and that's you really have to have your mind on your in your head and your head on your shoulders when
Yeah.
you're doing with that because it really is. It gets in your head. It gets in your you feel it. It's terrible.
Right. I think you've talked about it before, Jason, where when you were in the service, you walked into a room where there was a lot going on
Yep.
and really felt that evil in that room.
Yep.
Um, and that's it. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I haven't been in that kind of presence to have that feeling, but the way James you're explaining it, and Jason the way you've explained it a couple of times, just when it's us or even on the show,
Mm.
just that pure evil and walking into that presence. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Um,
it's
definitely believe that, certain acts in the world can kind of, I don't know, thin the veil.
Mhm.
I've been to some places overseas where, some of the most unspeakable stuff has ever happened in this building. And before we even knew what happened there, you walk in and it's just, this place is wrong.
Mm.
And I really think that's like a residual, holdover from the
Yeah.
stuff that happened there.
Yeah, and
well,
I agree with you. Like I've been to a lot of places that have had mass death, and
Mm.
it is it definitely draining. Like even I've been in the places that like I'm a history buff, but I've been to a place maybe I didn't know what it was before, and I think it's cool. I'll do research on it afterwards. I work in construction, so I'm in a lot of cool buildings,
Nice.
and
Yeah.
so um, it's like I do the history afterwards, and like even walking through there without even knowing that there was any kind of traumatic history or event, you're walking through there and you're like, you feel a little weird, like its own right. And then you come to find out this condo building or apartment building was an old hospital or something like that where hundreds of people died. And you're like,
Yep.
oh, that makes sense, right? But also, so there's levels to it, right? But I do agree with you that it could thin the veil or whatever. That if you look at string theory, it's maybe another dimension that opens
Yep.
up or something. But um, however it happens, I definitely agree that there's these echoes, and some echoes are, of course, larger than others, and that echo is that residual, but also uh, makes an impact for intelligent things to come through too, or maybe when you're there, right? If you're trying to speak to something, maybe because that veil is so thin, other things come through, and sometimes when people are dabbling in things in certain places, maybe that's what presents that something otherworldly to come through and then get involved, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of interesting theories on it, and I love it.
Yeah, same here.
I feel we could definitely go more into that, but I know Jason's chomping at the bit, and I kind of want to know this Romanian tour of Dracula. Can you
Yeah,
tell us
so
some of that?
yeah, so oh my god, I can't think of her name. I can't butcher it because she'd kill me. Give me a second, because I want to give her a shout out. I have to give her a shout out.
Of course.
Yeah, no worries.
Gosh, why did see? I'm having a blonde moment. It's terrible, but yeah. So a couple years ago, I went to Romania. I'll lead up to it until I can find it because she'll kill me if I forget her name. But so I was presented with an opportunity to be like a trio member of three influencers or whatever you want to call it. I hate using that, but like three people as like special guest to this tour company. It's called Mysterious Tours, and I'm gonna find a name. I hope she doesn't watch the show. Oh, Maria Schmidt. Jeez, gosh, Maria Schmidt. I was gonna say Maria, but I didn't want to be wrong. But Maria Schmidt runs Mystery Tours. She's such a sweet woman, but she's known for creating National Ghost Hunting Day.
Okay.
And so she created that. She got it official, and she used to do the live events with all the different places, and that you could watch them streaming and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But yeah, she has mysterious tours, and so she does all these events. So I was supposed to go with Patty Nargary and Father Sebastian. Unfortunately, scheduling changed it, and I was the sole special guest. So I went with her and a group of people, and the idea of it was the fall of Vlad the Impaler. So we got to go to the two monasteries that they say that his buried his body at, but he had some involvement in having them built, right? Or built one, and one was built in his honor. But um so been to two places that thought he was buried because his just his body, because he was beheaded and his head was taken back by the Persians, the Turks. And so yeah, so we got to go to, of course, the most famous known, Brom Castle, which shockingly enough, like sad to hear, and it's cool, but a lot of people say it's not haunted, and especially locals. And it is likely only Vlad the Impaler ever visited once. So basically, Bram Stoker took two legends, uh, Brom Castle, because of its beauty. Like, it is fantastic on the hill and how it was built, but you know, and then also integrated the idea of Vlad the Impaler, Dracula, and so it's a little sad to hear that he really never visited it, maybe only once,
Yeah.
but it was still cool because Bram Stoker's Dracula is a fantastic novel, and get the Gary Oldman movie was fantastic,
Yep.
but it's also area where the original vampire legends came from, Strigoi, in Romania and the Slavic cultures. But we got to be one of the first international groups, maybe the first United States group, to investigate Vlad the Impaler's birth home.
Oh
We
wow.
got to investigate it, yeah, and it was so cool. It's a restaurant now, but to be in his house where he was born and lived there as a toddler, even a baby, it was pretty fascinating. Got to go to Corvin's Castle, investigate Corvin's Castle. That is actually a more prolific castle than Brom, because he was actually imprisoned there for a great amount of years. and Vlad, I'm speaking of. But so we got to investigate there with things that happened there, and we got to investigate Hoyabaka Forest, which is the
Yeah.
second most famous forest in the world beside
Yep.
Ekogahara, and that's where the big circle where nothing grows. It was on
Yep.
Ghost Adventures, and that was pretty cool. Speaking of that feeling, right? Walking through there, it's dreadful. Like it's foggy,
Oh,
dark. The trees are freaking weird, dude. It is pretty creepy. And a lot of locals will say not to go in the forest at night because of the Strigoi there. It's still a legend believed.
wow.
But also more so, it's probably a warning for the gypsies as well because they will steal your stuff. but there's big gypsy culture there. Most of them are nice people. I'm giving a bad rap saying that they all steal your stuff. That's not true. But it was such a cool experience. We were there for I think 7 to 10 days. But man, like every little piece of journey, being in a modern day city that's in a huge Roman fortress, nothing like it. Seeing old Roman architecture because
Yeah.
Romania was a part of the Byzantine aspect of it, and just seeing it, man, it was just a cool experience, and just to get to investigate, places that I've always wanted to, or even check it out. But it was an honor and a privilege, and man, I always tell people to go, and I believe as long as it happens, I think they started, but they're supposed to be making a Dracula world in Bucharest, which is a beautiful city.
Really?
Oh,
That's
It's called
awesome.
Bucharest is called Little Paris because that's how beautiful it is. But yeah, they're making a Dracula land or Dracula world there, and it's supposed to
that's
be like this huge complex, rides and like a Walt Disney World, but smaller, of course. But yeah, I'm like, well, if that opens up, it's supposed to be opened up by 2027, at 2028. I'm like, I gotta go back
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that'd be fun. I want to be the first guy riding a Dracula roller coaster. Like,
Right.
but no, it was a cool experience, man. Like, it's something I'll always remember. Uh, and I know people say that, but it's truly mesmerizing. There, it's just natural beauty, and then of course, it's history and legends. And just for our Western viewers, because most people don't know this because they villainize poor Vlad the Impaler.
Yep.
He's a national hero there still. He's on
Yep.
stamps. He's iconography of him everywhere. People love that man.
Hmm.
He did some heinous things. He did pipe people on the head and did some crazy crap, but it was there to scare the people that was trying to take over his land and his
Yep.
people. So he was doing what his for his people, not to be invaded, even though he did kill his own people too. But still, yeah, he was a hero there, and I want people to get away from the fact that he was a villain.
Well, it was war, right? I mean, and you didn't have the stuff that you have now that's a show of force, right? Where,
Yeah,
we'd call in an aircraft to fly in 100 feet off the deck, right? And scare the bejesus out of them before they ambush us,
yeah,
So you don't have that. So what do? Put a bunch of dudes' heads on pipes. You're going to get the message before you get to the castle, right?
hell yeah.
yeah. Or
Like once
no,
again, the fight or flight, right? You
Yep,
see that
exactly.
you're stunned. Like, do I flee now or
Yep,
do I just continue going ahead? And that could be me.
yep,
yeah.
yep,
There were no
exactly.
A10s back then.
And yeah, I've always been fascinated with the forest, and I guess I think Expedition X. I always confuse them. The one that Josh Gates, sponsors and has the two explorers go out. They
Facts, yep.
yep, yeah, they did ground penetrating radar there and found evidence that the circle where nothing grows could be an old graveyard.
It makes sense because they've done geological studies there. There's nothing abnormal, so to say, in the sense like there's like this chemical or pesticide or something,
Radiation or yep,
radiation. So it's like, what else is it?
yep.
But if it's a graveyard, it makes sense because how they toil that land. But yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I know that's definitely one of Jason's bucket list places to go when
Yep.
we talk about that stuff. So
And man,
that's
reach out to Maria.
Yeah, we'll do.
She'll
take
give you a
some
good deal. No,
training.
it's really cheap, man. And there's payment plans for it too. I'm not trying to boast her, but I'm just saying there's not a lot of those places that offer the payment plan. So
It's not as
it
unattainable as it seems. Yeah.
it
Right.
really is. And really the fly there is not that expensive. Well, it might have changed now, but back a couple of years ago, it wasn't really that expensive. You know, it's not like, of course, flying inside the United States because it is like a 16-hour flight. It's a long
Yeah.
ass flight, man. But I still have back pains from it. But no, it's obtainable, and you know,
Well, and we
it's
were
really
talking before the show,
uh,
the conversion rate of the dollar
No.
is,
it's 4 to 1. Yeah, you said
yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, you go with $1,000, you got,
got
$4,500.
4,000.
You're
Yeah,
good to go. I
yeah,
mean, so you have a new adventure this year coming up. You're
yeah.
gonna start the podcast, and when are you guys starting that?
Yeah, so we're starting at 6/6/26. We had to
Nice.
Right.
six six
And
six baby. You know what I'm saying?
I did see
But
that you have a great guest that's going to be on for that first one.
yeah, so yeah, no, so Victoria, for people that don't know her, I'm assuming you guys know her because you watch the show. But yeah, she's the demon folklorist, and she has a master's in folklore. I find that greatly fascinating. And so yeah, we're starting a show called the Nine Gates Podcast. You know, it's a play off of Dante's Inferno and the Nine Circles. But it's gonna tackle the subjects of demonology and demonic folklore, and go down like a topic each episode. And it's only once a month, and we're gonna
Mhm.
give you a lot of. It's gonna be like a podcast lecture, right? We're gonna lecture, kind of, or talk or debate, conversate, have a guest on, get the guest off, and then kind of wrap it up. It's gonna be like a podcast lecture, uh, you know, uh, question and answering with a guest based on a topic. It's like we're not gonna ask like the guest, who the first guest for the first episode is John Zaffis, of course, um, who is the nephew of Ed Warren. And so we're going to have him on, and, we're going to ask him to talk about demonology in the sense of how you get into it, what got him involved into it, because that topic is called Introduction to Demonology. So we're going to try to stay on topics
Nice.
each episode. Sometimes we won't have guests, sometimes we will, and thank thank God I've been doing this as long as I have. I have a lot of contacts that I can call upon, and so it's like it's going to be so great because we're not going to be asking. Uh, a large pool of questions, which, hey, for the people that do it, awesome. But we're specific towards demonology and
Right.
observing that and looking at different beliefs and thoughts. Our plan is to have a psychologist on or a psychiatrist on for um, a talk about mental health and demons actually occurring through that or being misunderstood through that. And so it's going to be like very authentic, and it's going to take a lot of stuff and put it there so that instead of having to read it, you can listen to it and watch it. And I hope people enjoy it. Some people might get too bored from it because demonology is boring. And it has this excitement to it, but it is boring overall. Like the true study of it and the academia of it and the eons and eons of friggin' cultural traditions and beliefs that you have to get involved in and understand. Because if you don't, then you're biased one direction.
Right.
Um, so it really can be boring,
Well, and
but
God, it covers such a span of time, right? I mean, you have
yeah,
historians that, may specialize in the Battle of Gettysburg, right? Or
yeah.
something like that. And that's,
Well,
that didn't really go over a whole long time, right? I mean, 3
yeah,
days, but,
yeah. You think
I
about it.
mean, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
like
you're looking over,
yeah, to reinforce
centuries.
that, right? That the
Right.
belief of demons span all the way to Mesopotamian times, the Sumerians and
Yep.
the Babylonians, and so it spans all the way to that. With Lamashtu and Pazuzu. So it's 4,000 plus years, and if not close to 10,000, and I can't even imagine now that we have predated ourselves to over 250,000 years old. So as humans, so it's like, what more can we find?
Yep.
How much more can we find out about our early beliefs? Because I think they found a temple with iconography that's 10,000 years old, and that predated us to a common group of people and actually having a religious belief system beside animism, which was drawing paintings and animals and stuff like that, which is the very first religion is animism. But it's but it's interesting. It spans a long time of demons existing, but the commonality of it is different too. Now it's more of a theotic viewpoint of good versus evil, when then it was kind of a spirit that could be both, right? Either
Right.
one leaned a certain way, like a Lamashtu that ate babies, or a
Mhm.
Pazuzu who could be bad, and the god of pestilence, but also could protect you from Lamashtu and keep
Yep.
your baby safe. It's like they had dual roles back then, and then it came a duality where it was good versus evil, and that's due to like Epicurus with the Odysseys and stuff. But it's fascinating. Yeah, it goes a long ways, and there's 4,500 different religions out there. 4,500.
Right.
So it's like a lot to look into.
So you
Yeah.
started kind of, researching with, the encyclopedias and, just digging into it where you could, right?
Yes.
What what is the what's the next step to becoming a demonologist? From curious knowledge or, curiosity, what's that next step from there?
Usually, I would say curiosity kills the cat because I would say run away. I'm just stupid. But yeah, in all honesty, is that some people will disagree with me, and I have gotten disagreements with other people that call themselves demonologists. But I emphatically, as a tradesman, right? I'm a tin knocker by trade, and I was an apprentice, journeyman. Now, I'm the boss, right? So it's like I worked my way up, but it was a mixture of schooling and hands-on experience, but academia, reading. It was a mixture of things. So I really try to tell people that the best thing you could do is soak up all that knowledge like a sponge, even if you have the aspect where it can be a part of your life if it's even a busy life, because my life's busy and I make no excuses, but I go to school still. I'm a master's program right now, but you can go to school for
Huh?
certain elements of it and get an actual degree. Or if you're really that fascinated, become a priest and go through a Catholic priest, which is legit because they go through 10 years of formation, but also 10 years of schooling to get their master's in divinity.
Oh, wow.
So, and so it's like go those routes. But if you can't go those routes, reach out to somebody that's reputable, like people that you can say, hey, what about that dude or that chick, right? Are they reputable? Like how long they've been doing it? And get a mentor, see if they'll mentor you. Like I mentor people for free all the time. I give them books to read. I have discussions over the phone with them, like questions they have, and we talk about certain things. And I get them involved with caseloads, like doing like dealing with clients and stuff like that, like questionnaires and talking to them on the phone, gathering information. So I get them involved, but reach out, get a mentor. I think hands-on experience by learning from somebody and seeing the do's and do nots, and then also building your own way of doing it from there. Um, I think that's the best method. You learn, but also learn hands-on and learn through somebody. Because when I was an apprentice, I had a journeyman or a master's, and they showed me the ropes. I either picked it up or I didn't. And fortunately, I picked it up. A decade now of over a decade now in the trades, and I've survived it. But it's the same thing. Like I said, a lot of people can't get past the reading aspect of it, and unfortunately, you could be all hands on deck. But in this field in demonology, you need to learn a lot of the history and academia and the do's and do nots as well, and different people's beliefs and opinions. It's a part of the gig, and especially understanding psychology. Like I'm in my master's in psychology program. I have a bachelor's, but I'm on that journey because I want to observe it through that lens too. Because there is a lot of trauma. There's a different culture out there, and I want to integrate that. I need to integrate that. So it's a lot to it, but mentor is a must in my opinion.
Nice. I think that's the same, for even paranormal investigators. Get in with a group and learn
Yeah.
the good and the bad, right? Because we're gonna run into good and bad, but not near the bad that's, that you're seeing. And that goes to this question, we've heard it many times. We've asked many people the chances of running into a demon during something are what?
My statistics is probably, I could say, five definite demonic cases in 14 years of doing demonology, 20 years being in the totality of investigating. Five, maybe seven, and I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases. I don't have a number because it's not like I keep true record, but I know a lot of them that can come through the Rolodex of my mind, and yeah, hundreds and hundreds. So
Right.
very rare, very
Very
rare,
rare. Yeah.
very very rare. And once again, and as I tell people every time I talk about this topic, doesn't mean that other people that dealt with a case that I dealt with that I didn't qualify as such might call it demonic, and mislabel it, or for them believe it is what that is. So, I can't debate that. Maybe somebody else would have a different opinion, but that's my opinion and that's my observation.
Yeah. Gosh, it has been a great interview. Again, thanks for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to touch on before we let you go?
Yeah. So, basically, I have a book out on Amazon right now. You brought it up. It's blurry. I might have to get rid of it. Give me a second. I have to get rid of the blurry. You'll have to see my messy office. Give me a second. I got to do the shameless plug.
Of course. No, we
Absolutely.
want you
No.
to.
I have to. Yeah. I don't really market this thing. But why not? Oh, there we go.
There it is.
So it is the Psychological Dimensions of the Paranormal. It's on Amazon. It's only $10 or $10.50. I made it very low price for accessibility. I know that economy sucks. I've comped a lot of my books because I just want people to read it, and it's not a monetary thing for me. I just wrote it because I love it. And
Nice. Yeah.
but yeah, you can find it on Amazon. Psychological Dimensions of the Paranormal. It's really a non-biased book where I don't really interject my opinion in it at all. I talk about psychology and how they look at it. I look at through the lens of a believer, and I also look at it down the middle. I give 3 points of views of this, more so walk down the middle than more so than anything. But I allow you to read it and take what you think of it. I've had people tell me they question themselves, kind of what they've experienced, but then realize, okay, well, that was my experience, and to me, it's real. So it really kind of goes through a deep dive. It's split into 3 parts: spirits, demons, and humans. And most people tell me it's a great read. I don't know. So I've never got any hater yet, but I've always said that I would get haters from this because it really can be decisive, depending on how you interpret what you're reading, even though it's not meant to be. It's meant to be open ended, and you grab your own opinion from it. But sometimes when you write things, it might infuriate people
Yeah.
because there's not really a lot in the paranormal circuit uh, based on this book. If you read things out in the parapsychology field or anomalous psychology, which is kind of the opposite of parapsychology, um, that there are books on it, but they're very wordy and thick tomes. Like it's like you'd have to lose brain cells to read it to actually understand it,
Oh,
unless you knew that lingo. This makes it grabbable by anybody that
cool.
can understand.
Great.
But I also, one more plug. Sorry, is
No,
I
go
Look
for
what
it,
you
man.
want. We're good with it.
in April, beside of course June 6th, which is a positive day, 9 gates, but April 3rd on Good Friday, my second book will be coming out, The History of Demonology, and that actually looks at from Mesopotamia to modern times, and then
Hmm.
maybe the possible
Interesting.
future outlook on it as well of where it could go. But yeah, no, that it's now that's a little bit more textbooky, still very thin and very small, but digestible. I don't give you like paragraphs and paragraphs. I give you paragraph points and then paragraph. Like I make it really readable for you to understand. Um, in maybe a day or two, a couple days read, if it takes you that long to digest it and kind of have a little piece of more knowledge of demonology. That's really what it is, and I'm excited for that because that has a lot more to do with what I do. Even though I
Yeah.
do it psychology, but I'm excited. I think that you know you can't hate or love that one. It's what it is, right? And I'm excited for that to come out because there's a lot of definitely misinformation on demons and demonology, and this is, I think, going to help people understand it better.
Yeah, and
Well, we
that's
will.
one reason I love having, people like you, people like Victoria on the podcast, because there were so many misconceptions that I had, even, just before starting this show, that have been cleared up by talking to people like you guys. And it's been, amazing just the amount I've learned from that. So I'll definitely be picking up your books. I've got Victoria's, so add those to the library and, yeah.
Yeah, when that one drops, we'll be watching for that post, and that we'll share it on our page so people see
Appreciate it.
that. And of course, we'll be sharing the podcast stuff over there too.
Yeah.
Um,
And then for easier people, if you can't find it on Amazon because my name or whatever, my link's down below. And if you can't get my name right for some reason, demonology.org will link to my site, demonology.org. So you can either
Nice.
do the link below, demonology.org, or find me on Facebook, or because my website will have the direct links to the books.
okay.
Once again, both are going to be like $10. One's $10.50. The other one's probably going to be maybe even less, to be honest with you. I want to make it accessible, but yeah, you can
That's
find
awesome.
out through social media and of course through my links.
All right. Brenda was asking about a YouTube channel, but it looks like she found it.
I do. Yes. Nine Gates has a YouTube channel. Look up Nine Gates podcast. It'll come up
Awesome.
hopefully.
Okay.
But that also is on my website. If you click the podcast link, it'll bring you right to the YouTube page.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you for coming on such short notice.
Yeah, it's great, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for guys having me. I appreciate it much. It was great.
We're going to put you into the green room. We'll finish up the show and we'll catch up with you pretty quick.
All right. Perfect.
Man, demon stuff is always so cool.
It is. Yep. And
Um,
it's, like I said, between talking, to Victoria, now James, just learning kind of, the difference in what you see in the media, versus what's really there, and really the level of knowledge, right? And being able to research going back over 10,000 years to be able to, put some of this stuff together.
right. Yeah. I mean, he's doing his master's, and I wish I had that desire to, or had even as a younger, to really put my head into something and just go with it. And
It's hard.
I'm so scatterbrained all the time. Anyway.
It's hard. Yep. That's what I said. I got a couple of my stuff done for the IT cybersecurity stuff, and I'm like, I'm taking a break, man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this year, that's why we kind of, didn't have a bunch of stuff. You and Gina both. Gina graduated in May. I mean,
Yep.
You had your head to the grindstone doing IT stuff, and I know you were like, I'm done. I'm not doing anymore.
Yep.
This is going to be the year to really get into editing. But, I think it'd be cool at some point to run into something, but then it's like, you never really want to, right? You don't want to run into that evil.
Yep.
So, we have grumpy spirits that, and we talked to Victoria about this when we did our walkthrough. We have grumpy spirits where we'll investigate and they get tired. That's what we feel. They get tired.
Me
Like,
so much.
Demon.
Hell. Yep.
Hell. And through the spirit box or the ovilus or whatever. And it's just like, okay,
no,
you're not. And if you want to be done, just say done. And we're good with that.
Yep.
So it is a cool area of the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's his books, there's Victoria's books. Richard Estep has the one that she recommends, In Search of Demons. When we had him on, we talked about it.
Yep.
There's lots of stuff out there if that's what you're interested in.
Yep. And I think, being in the paranormal, especially, doing residential investigations, I think you at least have to step away from that everything's a demon. I know it's the clickbaity title. for YouTube right now. But going into someone's home and you're scaring the crap out of them, telling them that when a lot of people don't know it is a demon there, and they just maybe are encountering a jerk or a dark spirit, right? But not
Right.
demonic.
Well, and I think it's not just residentials, right? Because we went and investigated Whiteface House and
Yep.
we saw all these things where it's like, oh, this, and demon was in the title, and it's being overused for
Yes.
something that's not out there as much as it's said, right?
Right. Yep.
And some of these, we're on YouTube too, so I kind of watch, but we're not content creators because we're not out there putting stuff out every day or every week or
Right.
something, right? So I mean, I think it's something that the YouTubers are using as, like you said, clickbait, and it's just
Yep.
it's not what they should be doing.
Well, and demons are something, a lot of people are interested in, even if you're not in the paranormal, right? There's a lot of people that love horror movies, have obviously watched The Exorcist and some of these others, and, just, love anything demon. I mean, that's how I was, before really getting into the paranormal. And you know me, I'm a horror junkie. And, so scrolling through, it still almost catches me, just because I say, ooh, demon, because I
Right.
love exorcism movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It almost gets me. I refuse to watch them though, but it
Well,
almost gets me.
and I think that's something, that's that good and evil thing, right?
Yep.
Like you believe in good, so there has to be an evil.
Yep.
So I think that's what people see in those. I am not a horror movie person.
Right.
But I do watch like exorcism movies, it's
They're intense. They show a
right,
great battle.
right.
There's the battle between the demon and the person being possessed, and then you've got the final battle, right, of the priest who always drinks too much and smokes cigarettes and, walks through a foggy alley and, does battle and throws himself out a window to, banish a demon. And I mean, they're amazing types of movies.
Yeah. So here we are back at the beginning where, good and evil, and we have to battle evil at some point, I suppose.
Yep.
So
Yep. Just get some tools in the toolbox, learn how to recognize it. And then I think, which is, something, I don't think we really have out here in Wyoming, but, who can you contact if you do run across it? Right.
right. Yep. I think,
start.
we're lucky enough to have Victoria here to help with that if we do
Yep.
come across something,
True.
and
Yep.
we just made a new friend with James, and
Yep.
I'm sure if something came up and we had something to ask, that he'd be all over it. So
Yep.
guys, Brenda, thanks for coming in. I know you said you were late, but we always appreciate you, and we always see you over there. We love seeing you in the chat, guys. Always interact with our guests. It's great. We don't mind throwing your questions in there.
Yep.
And thanks for coming in and watching the show tonight.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see y'all next week. Unraveling the Darkness would like to thank Horn Paranormal Research for sponsoring our show. If you're craving more paranormal content, don't forget to check out our YouTube and Facebook channels at Way Out West Paranormal and Unraveling the Darkness. You can catch all of our episodes of Unraveling the Darkness on Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe, as it helps others find the show and join in on the paranormal fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep your lights on, stay safe, and remember, the truth is out there, and it might just be closer than you think.